Hey everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, personal development, helping people, and all the things it takes to help you live a strong, joyous life. My guest today is Andrew Jobling. Andrew is a wellness professional. He is a professional in-demand speaker and best-selling author of 7 books. His newest book is The Wellness Puzzle. And he is also a coach to aspiring authors and people who are already writing. And who knows, maybe he'll be my coach for my book. We'll see what happens. Andrew taught me that there is such a thing as Australian football. And now that I'm in the know, I am a fan. Those guys are athletic, and he was one of them in his previous life. So I want to be part of Andrew's wave in promoting wellness. And he was kind enough to come on my show and talk to me today about his philosophy about wellness and creating a strong, joyful life, which is what I'm all about. So I hope that you will enjoy the show. I hope you'll reach out to me and to Andrew. You can find him at andrewjobling.com.au because he is in Australia, and so add the AU at the end. And also on LinkedIn, find him and connect with him. Let us know what your questions are. We're here to help. And we really enjoy when you reach out to us. Also, will you please go to iTunes and subscribe, listen, share, leave us a review, because that really helps boost my ranking and more people will hear the shows and come on. And, we're creating a wave. We need your help. So I really, really, really appreciate you helping us out with that. Ready to go into the show? Me too. All right. Enjoy. Andrew Jobling. So hi, Andrew. Welcome to the Totally Well Show.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I have been reading about you, and we talked and met on LinkedIn, and I was torn between. I do more than one podcast. I do another podcast called Rock Bottom Syndicate.
Okay.
And the Totally Well Show, which is basically everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, personal development. And I was thinking that from your story, there was something that led you to get into doing what you're doing. Is that true?
A lot of things have led me to where I am today. There's no doubt about it. It's been quite a journey. So
were you a wellness professional prior to having all the changes in your life?
Well, yeah, so my background is I played professional sport in my teens and early 20s. And so, I've worked in health and fitness, health and wellbeing for 30 years.
So you played football, but that's what we call soccer?
No.
You played football?
It's not soccer, it's not rugby, it's Australian football. So Australian football is, most Americans have no idea what Australian football is. So you need to Google Australian rules football and you'll see.
Okay, I'll do that.
Too hard to try and explain it now. But so I played professional football 7 years, and then I started working as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And did that for 15 years. And I guess I just learned. I've learned a lot, and I've made a lot of mistakes, like most people, and ended up working long hours and not really enjoying it. And decided to buy a cafe because I got inspired about nutrition, which wasn't smart when I was working 80 hours a week in my own personal training business as well.
Wow.
So I ended up working, this is sort of nearly 20 years ago now, working over 100 hours a week in 2 businesses, losing money, having no life, and just not enjoying myself, and wondering how do I have the impact on the world that I want to have? How do I have a life for myself and not kill myself in the process? And that's when I made a very random, illogical decision to write my first book. And it was illogical because I'm not a writer, and I didn't read, and I had no time and no life and no qualifications and no experience, but I decided to write a book. But, it's interesting when I'm one of those people that very intuitive and very spontaneous. So I went with the feeling and wrote a book. My first book was called Eat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, and Be Lean and Healthy. And that, not surprisingly, did very, very well. And really that was published 15 years ago. And since then, The Wellness Puzzle is my 7th book, which I've just launched. And do a lot of stuff that I love. I was just in the US earlier this year and launching that book, and I do a lot of speaking in schools, in companies, corporates,
Wow.
mentoring.
Where were you in the U.S.? What state were you in?
I was in several. I was in California for a while. I was in Missouri for a little while. I was in Pennsylvania, and I was in Washington. So I spent the month of September having a lot of fun and traveling and speaking and meeting wonderful people.
Oh, that's great. So you in your bio you had something about creating a wave. I was trying to imagine what that meant of
Creating a wave of wellness.
yes, yeah.
Creating a wave. Well, look, I think, Joyce, right now I'm very motivated, but I'm also very agitated by the amount of sickness in the world.
Yeah.
It's not getting better, it's getting worse. And it's not for the lack of information or resources.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something wrong. We're clearly not following the things we know we should do, and we're also listening to the wrong people. I think, there's just too much confusion in the world. There's too much bad information in the world. There's too much negativity in the world. There's too much pollution, and there's so much stuff happening in the world that we're affected physically, mentally, emotionally, and the sickness around the world is disturbing, very disturbing, and I want to do something about it. And I want to just try and help people get back to basics, because at the end of the day, most people know what they should do. Mm-hmm. Most people know, certainly from a nutritional point of view, from an exercise point of view, there's not many people in a westernized world that doesn't know they should eat breakfast and eat fruit and vegetables and drink water and eat fish and eat less processed food and exercise regularly and don't smoke and don't drink. And I mean, intuitively and intellectually we know it, but the problem is people are not doing what they know they should do. And then, so therefore, the question I'm trying to help people answer is, how do you actually do what you know you should be doing to live a long, happy, healthy life? And right now, so my goal for me and to help other people is to live a purposeful life of joyful longevity. Mm-hmm. That's my goal.
I love that. I made a post the other day about somebody had posted about 1 in 5 adolescents is pre-diabetic, and that was kind of hitting the news. And I had that like feeling of being angry, like, outraged that this is the case. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on. I agree. Most people can look up and find out what they should be doing to prevent disease. But what is stopping us from doing that? Do you have a sense or an opinion about that?
Yeah, I think my sense is that people are not happy in their life. People are lost. Mm-hmm. Most people don't feel good enough. Most people don't belong. Most people spend their life doing things that they don't really enjoy and feeling like they have to do that. Mm-hmm. I think we've lost sight of our purpose in life, and we all have purpose. We've got a purpose, and I truly believe we're here for a reason. But I think too many people have just got sucked into the whole the con that we've been sold about. Just get a job and it doesn't matter if you enjoy it. Go and earn your money and work-life balance and all this rubbish. And I think what's happening is people are living in a state of negative emotion. People are living in a state of anxiety. People are living in a state of anger, resentment, regret, and it's that emotion that's what's killing people. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. People blame food all the time. Well, it's not the food's fault, because food doesn't jump into your mouth. I mean, we put that food in our mouth. There's a reason why we put it into our mouth. So if you're having trouble making good choices about food, then I think stop looking at what food should I be eating or can I eat, and start looking at why am I making those decisions, and how do I make better decisions. And I truly believe once people are happy, once they feel like they've really identified what's important in their life, what their purpose is, mm-hmm. You're going to make better decisions. I mean, I know for me, every day I bounce out of bed, I love my life, I love what I'm doing, and I want to be healthy. I want to eat better. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to negotiate anymore on, will I eat this or will I eat that? I know for me what's important. So I think, all the research now is showing that our emotional state is the thing that's causing sickness, but it's also allowing people to live beyond 100 and live lives of joyful longevity. The impact of our emotional state on our DNA, on our immune system, on our brain health, on our cortisol levels, on our free radical activity. You know, the research is there now, and the people that are living longer are not necessarily the ones that are eating the best, but they're the ones that don't worry. They're happy. They look at the positive side of life. They're able to forgive. The people that end up sick are not necessarily the ones that are eating poorly. You know, they're the ones that are stressed and anxious and angry. And, you know, and the bottom line is you cannot, you know, people force themselves to eat salads and steamed vegetables and fish, and they hate it and they're miserable. Well, that's that misery that's doing the damage, not the, you know, and there's no amount of salad or nutrient-rich food that's going to overcome negative emotion on the body. So, you know, you're better off to eat pizza and then be happy. You know, I'm not saying eat pizza every day, but what I'm saying is you're better off to indulge in moderation and enjoy it, and know that that's a part of a healthy life, and change your focus, change what we're focused on. And I think that's the key. What I'm finding, where I'm trying to do my work, is help people be happier. Look at things from a different perspective. You know, look at their job differently. If they're not happy in their job, change it. You know, identify what's important. Spend more time with your family. Be a better example for your kids. You know, there's so many. This is such an amazing world we live in. I see people wasting their short time they've got on this planet.
My grandmother lived. She was born in 1899, and she lived to be 100. And of course, as old as she was, there wasn't as much processed food then. And as she got older, she indulged in. She wasn't a smoker or drinker, but she definitely ate processed food. But she had that happy attitude and that flexibility, go with the flow, and
that's it.
And that's what she taught me. She was like, just be happy. She was just content being with her family, and the most ordinary thing, doing the dishes or sewing. She had a sewing machine with the foot pedals that she'd make, and she'd make me little doll clothes. And it was just,
it was joy for her. That was her joy.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, there's examples of that everywhere, Joyce, honestly. Like my great-grandmother didn't make it to 100, but she got to 97, and she smoked a carton of cigarettes a week.
Oh, wow.
She drank brandy every single day, and I've got a Hungarian background. She ate rich Hungarian food, and she lived to 97. But same thing, she was always happy. She loved her life. You know, when I was in the US, I spoke in Missouri. I spoke at a hospice to a group of carers for, you know, aged people, and one of them spoke about the lady that lived to 113.
Yeah.
And he said I could never work out how she lived so long, because she ate horribly, like deep fried foods and high sugary foods, and she drank, and, you know, she did everything wrong, but she lived to 113. And one day he asked her the question. He asked her, how do you do it? How do you live so well and so long and eat so badly? And she answered with 5 words. And those words were, I don't worry about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's huge.
And well, that's it. I mean, and so all this research on the right foods and the right combinations and the physiology and how cells are metabolized, and how, you know, what exercise is the best for, you know, fat burning and strength muscle development and blah, 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 blah. And the answer is simple. Stop worrying. Yeah. Everything's okay. Like, there's always an answer. And I think if people could get to the point where they go, do you know what? I'm going through a tough time right now, but I know it's going to work out. I know I'm going to be better for it. I know there's a lessons that's going to come from it. I know there'll be opportunities that come on the other side of this. All of a sudden, that anxiety level goes from here and almost disappears when you can just believe that it's okay. There's really nothing, and this is easy to say, but there's really nothing to worry about, honestly, because we have the answers. We can find the answers. You know, and sometimes things need to happen in our lives for us to grow and be better and learn the lessons. So if we can approach everything in life with that, I can get through this, and I know there's a reason for this, and I know it's a good reason, and just be happy and be grateful for what we've got, rather than always wanting more or looking for more or stressed about what we don't have and haven't done, we would be a lot happier. We would live a lot longer. we will make better choices, and we will make a bigger impact. Because the wave of wellness is really about how the ripple effect, like everything ripples. Every thought we have, every word, every action we take ripples. There's no isolated events. Everything ripples. Every time we say something, it impacts someone.
Yeah, so we're connected in some way. We're connected in it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And me and you having me on your show is wonderful, because it's another opportunity to just start another ripple and start to build that wave. The more people that can hear the message and understand that we're okay as we are, we're wonderful. Life is good. It's just about believing that we're good enough. And I think most anxiety and stress comes from the belief, and we all have it, that we're not good enough. Not good enough not a good enough partner, not a good enough employee, not a good enough boss, not good enough to be healthy, not good. I help people write books now, and the biggest issue that most people have is they don't think they're good enough. And, they're
Did you
worried
feel
about...
that way when you started writing?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, I still feel that way in certain things, but it's certainly a lot less now.
Written 7 books. How can you feel that way still?
Because I'm a human, and I think, we have to be very deliberate about our thoughts, because if we just let thoughts happen, often they take us down a negative path. We think the worst. I mean, I think as humans, for some reason, we're just wired to look for trouble. We're wired to look for the worst possible scenario. And and the problem is, most people just allow their thoughts to control them, rather than say, hey, I'm in control of my thoughts. I don't need to believe that. I am good enough. And look at the facts. I mean, writing my first book, I had no time, no skills, no experience. I had all the reason to believe that I wasn't good enough. But I just sat there for a second and I thought about it. Do I have any logical proof that I can't do this? Yeah. And there was none. Yeah. I had no proof that I couldn't do it. Therefore, the chances are I can do it. So why not just get started? And as we get started, get into action, the belief starts to grow. The belief starts to build. I have way more belief in myself now than I've ever had. But there's still things. I think every human goes through a period of doubt in themselves, and I think
I practice. I have a journal in the morning. I start to write things down, and I write down things that I want to believe about myself, like to sort of rewrite the scripts. And it's like practice. So and I did the same thing when I got breast cancer. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do now? And I was near 50, and I decided to get some hockey skates and learn to skate, and then become a hockey coach on top of it. So it wasn't good enough that I just learned to skate, and everybody laughed at me, of course. But I kept looking. I have 5 children. I kept looking at my children, and I was like, there's no reason why I can't do this. And I had, in the other side of my head was, well, I have cancer. I'm going to die. So I've got to, they just pushed me to try something outside my comfort zone. And then then that happened. It was like you writing your book. I became a very good skater.
Good on you. That's wonderful. And look, here's the deal: you had cancer, and I'm sorry to hear that you had the cancer, but that brought death right in the front of your face. Now, the reality is, we're all dying.
Yeah, yeah.
All of us. The second we're born, we start dying.
Yeah.
And I know might be a negative slant, but I think if we can start believing and knowing that, look, we're only here for a short period of time, and then we're gone, and we're gone for good. Yeah. Make the most of this amazing time we've got, because it's a miracle that we're even here. Yeah. The fact that we're even alive is one of the greatest miracles of all time. Yeah. And therefore, it's not luck. We're here for a purpose. Mm-hmm. The key, I believe, to optimal well-being and living a purposeful life with joyful longevity is work out what that purpose is, and spend every day fulfilling it, every day chasing it, every day living it. And all of the other things become insignificant. All the other little problems that we have, they're not problems. When you truly know what's important, you don't even notice them anymore. And I think that's my mission, is to help people believe in themselves, that they're here for a reason, they're good enough. You've just got to identify, find your purpose. Once you can wake up every morning and go, yay, another day, I'm going to eat breakfast. I want to eat breakfast. I want to be healthy. I'm going to probably choose salad over fish and chips. I'm probably going to drink water rather than some sort of soda. I'm going to make better choices because I want to be healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do choose to indulge chocolate or ice cream or alcohol or pizza or whatever it is, I'll do it with joy. I'll do it with gratitude. I'll do it knowing that this is part of a healthy life, that I can indulge and enjoy it in moderation. I don't have to be so ridiculously strict that my life's a misery.
Yeah. It's really great. It's so good to hear this. I help people with nutrition and wellness. I'm a nurse, and people come to me for weight loss and nutrition. And so often I need to take them. We'll talk a little bit about it, but like you said, people know most of this stuff already, and it comes back to their self-worth. They've seen themselves in this kind of vicious cycle for so long, and they just need to learn to believe in themselves again and to feel worth it. And they've written that they've worn a rut in the road to the old habits. And so just keep bringing them back to center.
Absolutely. Well, there's interesting. There's a lady named Caroline Leaf. She's a neuroscientist, cognitive neuroscientist.
Okay.
She's doing a lot of amazing work. Dr. Caroline Leaf, and so she talks about neural pathways, creating neural pathways or changing behavior habits. 63 days. 63 days. Okay. So that's all it takes to totally create a new, strong, unbreakable neural pathway in the brain. And so I'm just encouraging people to pick a couple of things, maybe 2 or 3 things, or maybe one thing. What do you want to change? And it might be just to wake up every day and write a gratitude journal. Mm-hmm. That might be it. Do that every day, but do it every day for 63 days and check it off and win the day. And once you do 63 days, that attitude of gratitude is there forever. Yeah. That one attitude will change your life more than anything. That attitude of wake up and grateful for your family, grateful to be alive, grateful for the country that you live in, grateful for the fact you've got a roof over your head, grateful for the fact that you've got enough money to pay your bills, grateful for the fact that you've got a job, grateful for the fact that, your partner cares enough to nag you, grateful for the fact that, you're able to overcome challenges. The second we have that attitude of gratitude, things change. So 63 days to pick 1 or 2 things. Maybe eating breakfast is an issue for someone. We'll focus 63 days, get up and eat something. Maybe drinking more water. We'll get up and drink, make sure you have that extra glass of water a day. Simple things, but powerful once they become habits. Again, that ripple effect of personally, but also on people that are watching this process. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we impact people around us, and people even 3 degrees removed, I've heard, will have an impact on our health, or the other way around.
Well, I think even that's where social media's got a lot of really incredibly positive attributes. I mean, people talk about the negative stuff of social media, but if you can post your journey from poor health to optimal health, or from whatever, getting through a challenge, that's going to inspire people. There's going to be people who are going to watch that journey and go, well, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love having people tell their stories. That's why I did the Rock Bottom Syndicate as well, because for one, I think when people tell their story, it's a release. It's somehow healing. But then hearing how someone else has bounced back. I tell the story of my recovery from breast cancer, and skating, and how this was my medicine, is being happy and moving and sweating and not worrying about it, like just believing it was going to go away. I did what I could do and now live. And I think it really gets people out of their their stuck place when they hear someone else do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what other things did you have in mind to share today about your journey?
Well, I think my journey, is really everything we've spoken about. I mean, I call myself an unlikely athlete and an accidental author. So, I was never really equipped to be a professional footballer. I was skinny and I was a bit of a mama's boy and I wasn't that talented. But I was a middle child. So I remember as a child being a middle child and having an older brother who was really smart, and a younger sister who was really cute, and always going, me, what about me? And always looking for a way to get attention. And at a very young age, I made the decision, this crazy decision, that I'm going to be a professional footballer. I didn't look at the fact that I wasn't talented or skillful or physically equipped. I just had that vision. And that got me into action, and I started working. And at the age of 16, I started my professional sporting career, and that lasted for 7 years. So, and then again, I've spoken about writing books. I was certainly not equipped or qualified or experienced in writing books. But, my message is it doesn't matter whether you've got the ability or the talent. What matters is the clarity and the desire, and your willingness to get into action. Stop overthinking. And I think the problem with most people is they spend too much time in their head.
Yeah.
And, you've got to get the idea will formulate in your head, but then get out of there fast. Get out. It's a dangerous place. Most people will say when they're going through a tough time, I just need to go into my cave, or I need to go into, and that's the worst place to be. When you're trying to get unstuck, the worst place you can do is go into the place that got you stuck in the first place, and that's your head.
Yeah.
You get out of your head, you get into your heart, because in your heart, that's where the action happens. That's where the feelings happen. That's what will move you. So I want to encourage people to, that are listening to this or watching this, feeling stuck or wanting to achieve something but are doubting themselves. Stop thinking.
Yeah.
So honestly, stop thinking. Have faith. Take the first step. The second. Get focused on how it will feel when you've achieved it. Get focused on how you'll feel when when the result's coming, and take the first step, because as soon as you take the first step, you'll see the second step, and as you move forward, the path will unfold, and the way forward will become obvious. It's how it's always happened for me.
Yeah.
I start writing, and I kept writing, and I go, okay, well, you do that, and then you do that. All right, you do that, and then you do that. And then I'd finish the manuscript. What do I do now? Well, then I've got to edit it. Okay, I'll do that. And then I've got to find a publisher. Well, I'll do that. And, I'm published. Okay, what do I do now? And just
ask for help here and there. It's funny because when I had started my podcast I was trying to build community. So I locally got a group of people together and a speaker. So it was a very small group, a live event. And then I went to the local cable access TV and said, will you come film it? And they said, sure. Would you like to start a TV show? And I was like, oh, it was so, like you say, accident. I was like, well, okay. And I had no idea what to do. And they said, well, you just sit there and talk, and we'll film you. We'll do the editing. So I got all these shows together. And then I was thinking, I'm seeing all these podcasts out there. And I was like, this could be I could just like take all those shows and put them into my podcast. But I didn't know how to do a podcast. So then, and I see all these great podcasts where people have all the bells and whistles and everything so polished. And I was like, it's just me. And I'm going to find out how to like get started down and dirty. It's not going to be, all fancy, but we're going to be able to hear each other, see each other. And
it's all about the message, right? I mean, you've got to get a message to the world. It doesn't matter how nice the background is or how fluffy it is. Let's get into,
so I'm all about the take action piece. Like
action.
Let's jump in there and do, and we'll get better as we go. I learned it with hockey. I learned it with being a mother, 5 kids. I got better as I went along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key. The key, Joyce, is action. There's nothing else that will replace it. You can't learn enough. You can't think about it enough. The only thing that's ever going to change things is action.
Yeah.
So, I know there's probably people watching this that's thinking, yeah, I should, but stop saying but and just get up and stop thinking.
Yeah.
Stop. Just take the action without thinking, and I promise you the confidence will start to come, the belief will start to come, and you go, wow, I wish I'd done this years ago.
Wow. Well, I love your message. We're about out of time, and I just want to make sure there isn't anything else. I know you have, I'm going to put in the show notes about your book, The Wellness Puzzle. Is that the name of it? And looking forward to reading it. And I was looking over all the titles of your book. They look really fascinating to me, starting with your first one with the chocolate and the alcohol. But You had another one about abundance, being from financially broke or something.
From brilliant and broke to inspired and abundant.
Abundant. Yeah, that one sounded interesting to me. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add to?
No, other than say thank you for having me, and I hope the message is resonating with some people. I hope they, they understood my Australian accent all the way from the other side of the world.
Yeah, I think so. You say some words almost like we say, like smart, and how you say that? We say smart in Boston, smart, AHT. But
yeah, there's a few minor differences.
yeah,
We're all people. We all communicate. We all want the same things, right? We want to be healthy, happy, loved, successful, abundant, and we can all have it. I just want people to believe that no matter where you are right now, no matter what your circumstances, it can change and you can have the life that you want. But you've got to get started today. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to know what you want, and you've got to take the first step. The rest will unfold.
I'm so grateful. I feel loved and feel more confident just being in your presence and hearing you say those things. And it's, it's practice. So thank you so much for taking your time with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.